So here on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, give us 300.
This color.
All right, guys, you have audio?
All right.
Oh, I wish it already.
We are talking.
Say that again.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Be Encouraged Show with Frank and Lisa.
It's Motivation Monday, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to be with you on our show. So welcome. We are wearing our brand new suits that were custom made for us by
Steve Periani.
Steve Perry. You need to check him out. He makes some incredible clothing that fits you perfectly.
Custom made.
Incredible.
Yes.
I'm
I'm so
telling you.
petite, it's hard to get stuff to fit me. So
Me
I
too.
was excited about it. Oh, God.
We're the team together. Welcome to Be Encouraged, Sean Frank Sinclair, along with my partner.
Lisa Sinnott.
We provide a platform for entrepreneurs and community-focused individuals to expand their reach and to create a positive impact in the Colorado Springs community. And we're joining you live from Colorado Springs this morning with some great guests. If you want to join us internationally, go to our website and select International via the Instagram to join us live from anywhere in the world.
So today's show is sponsored by Cressio, who offers to help social impact companies with pay what you can consultations. Pay what you can consultations to increase your leads, among other things. So please visit them at Cressio.com to learn more and check out the flyer that we provided for you all later.
Indeed, we need to take that one. Cressio doing such a great job at our community. They just bringing to life the opportunities for small business to level up and create space so that they can grow, so that our community can grow as well. Reach out to John Geary and his wonderful team. You know what? I'm gonna let you introduce these people. What is really?
Yes, I've been looking forward to that.
And
So, actually, we have Dr. Pauline Dillard. She is a Christian marriage counselor. She was on our show last year. We offer guesting every single year. So I told her to squeeze in before the end of the year. I'm super excited to have her back. With over 4 decades of marriage to her husband, Mike. She brings very deep wisdom and experience to her counseling practice alongside a rich family life with 3 adult sons and 3 grandchildren. And Dr. Pauline is dedicated to strengthening marital bonds and supporting couples through the principles of faith and commitment.
wow.
Well done.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you again.
That's so fun. And to her right is Dallas Shepard, founder of Harmonized Brain Centers. Dallas transforms lives by turning unfocused, underperforming brains into harmonized, high-performing ones. With over a decade of experience and more than 100,000 successful sessions, his approach is drug-free, safe, and proven. Harmonized Brain Centers has locations across Colorado and Tennessee, helping clients overcome challenges and reach their full potential through brain wellness and life coaching. Welcome.
Thank you for having me this morning. Yeah, so glad to have you both in place, Pauline. Dr. Dillard, you are doing some incredible work in this much needed space of marriage counseling. Yeah, one of your clients here.
Yeah.
Outed yourself. So now I
She's
wouldn't have
doing
said
so
anything.
much better since you started seeing
I
her.
always like for people who are around my client. He's around me a lot. No, I don't know if it's working or not.
She's rocking it. I'm telling you, her incredible husband and her John, and that I can just see their union growing stronger. So thank you for the work that you do as place. Dr. Pauline, what is something that you've had to overcome in business over the last year? What's been tough for
Gosh,
you?
this past year, I really think it's like people knowing who I am. Because, before COVID, it was just, I was in Colorado Springs, it was a lot of word of mouth, it was a lot of people just here in town. And then with COVID, we all know that shifted everything. And so I had to learn how to do Zoom counseling, which I've gotten pretty good at. And that helps me with, I can counsel anybody from anywhere. And so trying to get that recognition out there really has been one of my biggest challenges for people to know I'm here and know what I do and that I'm available wherever they are.
So the exposure piece,
Yeah.
the marketing piece, because it doesn't matter how well you do the things you do if no one knows you're doing it.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So getting you out there. But I did hear a little bit of a shift perspective because it also opened doors
Yes.
for you because now there's no barriers to your being able to help people across the globe.
Correct. And I do have clients from other countries too.
That's
So
awesome.
if they speak English, we're good to go. They do. That helps. But yeah, because I don't speak any other languages very well. So yes, if they speak English, they're really good. But Frank, the biggest shift had to come in my own head. Because, as I'm getting older, which, all the technology was just, I always joke about, I fought the technology and this technology wins on that one on the Zoom. Because I really like people being in the room with me, but the more that I had to grow on that Zoom stuff, it's really, yes, as you said, expanded. Unfortunately for you, you can't necessarily do that. You can't do it out because you have to be touching the clients. So,
Yeah.
but I can do it.
Yeah, just so we clarify that, you're not
Yes, yes. The only, I'm gonna, because I have doubts too, and I actually had some of the work on me. So it's just the top of your head. It's not.
We just want to be clear.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry. Janice, do you want to expand a little bit about what that means? Do they stick like?
Yeah, so basically, we specialize, we're trying to create the best environment for the brain development. And when you get down to the very basics, our brain speaks electrical and chemical activity. Then the question always comes in, does electrical cause the chemical, or the chemical cause the electrical? We can be here all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. But from the neurofeedback that we use, which is LINS, what we're using neurofeedback, we're doing a raw EEG and electroencephalogram. And we're actually putting a electrode on the head, one on each ear, grounding a reference. And we're reading the electrical activity in the brain, breaking it down into brain waves. And then in our system, we actually send it back to the brain to help it self-regulate when it's stuck. So we're actually putting leads off to the head.
In other words, they're harmonizing brain.
Yeah.
We're trying to get everybody into it.
Yeah, and Dallas and I have actually worked together and with some clients because with what I do, teaching people tools for how to communicate at a deep heart level, 95% of the time, if people when we do that, it does change dynamics. But sometimes I run into brains that can't seem to take it in, seem stuck. And so I have sent them over to Dallas to get unstuck in the brain so that then as we bring new messages and new ways of thinking, it's able to go in there.
So you're saying that, your marriage is jacked up because your brain stuff?
Can be.
I am saying that in general anyway.
Michelle, are you listening?
Oh, yeah. That's why I have to home, right? 'Cause we have to adjust that.
That's my problem, baby. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
Need to be harmonized. You know, there's a story, Dallas, that leads into this space because you didn't just fall out of the womb like that and you go, you know, it'd be fun to harmonize the brain. Yeah, so there was some backstory behind
Yeah, so I mean, everybody's got a story, so I come at this from a very non-conventional, non-educational standpoint, other than personal life experience. My son was hit in the head with a baseball, wound up being in a coma for 2.5 months. And when he came out of the coma after rehab, he was sent home, confined to a wheelchair with cognitive issues, speech issues, and obviously motor skill issues. And really the fundamental question that we had that was posed to us, not really intentionally, but can you change the brain? Well, that becomes, and if you answer yes, then the question comes in, how? Okay, and that has put us on a 21-year journey to try to find methods, techniques, how do you change the brain basically from his traumatic brain injury. Fortunately, 21 years later, he works, he drives, he's a fine young man. He still has a little bit of a right side limp and a little bit of a speech impediment, but he's living life, doing life, and it's like, okay.
And I've met him.
Yeah.
And it's such an inspiration to life to hear him share. I mean, he works full time. He does all of these wonderful things. And would you say that the work that you and Shelley do in this space is really, was that helpful for him becoming the man?
So now we didn't start doing this business or until 10 years after his accident.
Right.
Okay, we moved out to Colorado Springs. I had heard about neurofeedback and different things, started looking at it, and literally a lady was doing limbs right across the street from the house that we were renting in a doctor's office. So I signed him up and I signed up, and about halfway through, her husband was in the military and was being transferred. She said, I think you'd be good at this. I'm like, good at what? I'm like, what are you talking about? So I come from a very entrepreneurial background, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
I see the help that it did for him and I at that point. And so now it's history. We've been open for 11 years, have done over 120,000 sessions, and have got to help a lot of people in a lot of different situations. So out of his tragedy came our opportunity that we're able to walk with. You know, people ask me all the time, would I ever wish it upon anybody? Absolutely not. But because of his accident and divine intervention, I'll put it that way, and a lot of hard work, we're able to sit there and help a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're so thankful for you.
Yeah.
And
We
so
really
it's-
are.
And your passion comes through.
It does. You can hear it.
That's exciting. You know, it is. And I get to work, and we've worked with people within, the addiction side of things. Actually, we're working with an organization out of Denver. They're out opening a home for sex trafficked women, and for an 8-week, they come into the home for 8 weeks, and we're going to be incorporating a Better Brain
Can you say where
program.
they are?
It's her campaign that's out of Denver, and they're going to be
But we have someone from Denver coming in next show.
Okay.
Step Denver
Yes.
is creating a space in Colorado Springs called Step Springs.
Oh, okay.
That's also going to be approaching the addiction space and things as well. Maybe a connection there. I think that they could use your help
Yeah,
going forward as well.
Dallas, is Harmonized Brain Centers, is that your?
Yeah, no,
Is
it's
it a
ours,
chain
and again, I
franchise?
come into where, I come from an entrepreneurial background, and about 12 years ago, we were, Shelby and I, my wife was sitting around, like, okay, what is the name, what are we gonna do, how do we find a website? And Harmonized Brain Centers popped up, and it was available, oh, that's ours.
Wow.
Yeah,
So 4 locations.
So, 5 locations now.
Okay.
And looking to expand, and it's kind of going back to what Pauline said, one of the downfalls of Harmonized Brain Centers, okay, somebody has to come into our office, but the other side comes in, how do we expand it to more people being able to do it with a proven track record program like franchising, licensing, that type of thing, and we are expanding that out.
You should talk to our friend DK. Do you know him? DK Newman, owner of Dart Wars.
I don't know.
'Cause he
Shelley
did-
probably. Shelley,
She
my wife
probably
is.
does.
She's out and about everywhere. I get stuck in the office hook and line.
Well, you gotta determine what your strengths are, right? Yeah, that's what
And
you need.
it takes both.
Yeah.
I mean, a small business, going back
Right.
to what you guys do.
Right.
How does a business, there's so many different aspects to business, and usually people get in, they're good at what they do, but they're not always looking at the other things.
Stuff,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, how did you become a marriage counselor?
So I had gone back to graduate school as my kids got older because I knew I always wanted to go back and do counseling or whatever God
Why?
would lead me to do. You know, I did that for my bachelor's degree, and I just felt very strongly led to do that. And then I got married a week after I graduated, and then I gave my life to the Lord, and then He told me to have kids. And so, you know, it was just kind of like, you know, and I was like, oh man, darn it. Anyway, I had the number of kids He said to have, and raised them up, but I always had in me that there's something there, and I knew it was God-led. And so I did pray a lot about it, and I got to go back to graduate school through a Christian college that had a really strong PhD program, and I just felt God say do PhD, so I did. And then I was trying to figure out what to do from there, believe it or not. And He was like, just, you know, in Colorado at that time, you did not have to be licensed, and you could start as a registered psychotherapist. And He was like, just start, just get on with what I'm giving you to do. So I'm doing my little counseling thing, not really sure where it's gonna go, to be honest with you. And I was introduced to this method and model of how to teach people to connect at a heart level. And I actually asked my husband, will you go do this with me? And not like we were gonna be on divorce court or anything like that, but just that heart connection, that how do we really care for each other at that really deep heart level. Sometimes you can feel like we're doing okay, but there's a space and you're like, we just don't know how to get in there. So I went to, there was a man here in Colorado Springs who was doing it. We went, it was so phenomenal for us that my husband said to me, how can you know this and not do it for other people?
Aww.
And I went, oh my gosh, that has to be from God.
Yes.
Because really, my husband, you know, he supports what I do, he encourages me, but he never really commented on what I should do in it. So the man here was training counselors, and I went and trained with him. And it is so different than any marriage counseling out there. Because to be honest, when I was in graduate school, I told God, and you know, just tell God something. I told Him I do not want to do marriage counseling. It is a whole lot of work for very little return. And at that time, most counselors thought it was like 10 to 20% return and thought that was okay. And I thought, oh man, it's not.
10%, you mean the
That marriages would get better. Yeah. I know, and I thought,
Crazy.
yeah. I really did read my graduate books on marriage like this. Okay, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
And that's never going to work. I've been married over 25 years at the time, so I sort of really knew some things about being married long term. And so then I trained in it, and I started to do it, and I brought elements into it that are just from me, from what I like, but really it starts out very specific. You know, we do some specific things, and then if there's more need, like if I need to send them to Dallas or something, because I'm very body, mind, spirit oriented,
Yes,
and God made us all three, and all of those need to be working really, really well. And so, Frank, with this, I have an 83% success rate.
Oh,
Yes. And
that's amazing.
I know. And I had a pastor ask me, what about the other 17%? Why do you think that's there?
Oh my gosh.
No, he was just asking. And you want to know what my answer was? Selfishness.
Yeah.
We have a very selfish culture.
We do.
and
It's human nature.
It
Human
is
nature
human
is
nature.
selfish.
It's
Yeah.
very selfish.
Yeah.
So teaching people how to, basically, I will say, you know, like if you learn how to care for the other person and they learn how to care for you, you both get what you need without having to grab and pull at each other. So,
Yes. Well, that's one thing I was drawn to her method is it's heart-centered.
it's very
Not, because my husband's very logical. I am not logical. I'm the dreamer, fly off the seat of the pants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm that girl, free-spirited.
Yeah.
And to try to get a very logical person with a free spirit to come together and, like, understand and mold together is just, it's hard.
And to be honest with you, that is actually most couples.
That is most
It
couples.
is
Yeah.
most couples, and I
Absolutely.
think God does
Michelle's
that to bring
probably,
you
I'm
about.
more like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Michelle's more like John.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Right.
Very logical.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, it's
Yeah.
gonna work. Let's roll, baby.
Yeah.
Well, even for our show, we have Joshua as our producer because he's the one that grounds us and says, no, 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 let's calm down. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Frank and I are like,
Right.
we're
Yes.
Yeah, and so I have to kind of do this, don't I, Lisa? Let's bring you right here
Right,
together.
exactly.
And then you get some wisdom in your marriage. Because one thing we do know is logic is never going to heal the heart. So logical people do have to relax, and I have to pull people who are like this out of the sky
Yes.
and
Yeah.
come down and be grounded with
Yeah.
another person
Yeah.
where you can really see and hear and understand each other.
You
So
can.
I love it. I didn't think I'd like marriage counseling, but with the way I do it, I really love doing this and watching couples do what I call flip their marriage.
Yes.
So it's really fun. And it's fast if people do what I give them to do.
And
As
what
long as
they're
they
told
do
to
it.
Do it, as long
Yeah.
as you do
But
it.
you know, you
Do your
sit there
homework.
and, you know, you listen to, you know, because you always look at why don't some people get better?
Yes.
But then there's also, you go back, you know, not everybody wants to be well.
That's
No,
right.
Right.
no.
Some people they just like the chaos, and that's where they're at. And then
That's
it's
just
like,
what they know.
No,
very
right.
often.
Yeah.
you know, it's like, okay, how do you help break that? And that's,
Yeah,
you know,
and-
part of
Uh-huh.
everything that's going on. But it's
That's been
relationships.
part of my life. as
Yeah,
well.
and it
Yeah.
always,
Yeah, the chaos.
it
and stuff
reminds
that I
me
have to
of
remind
Jesus
myself.
at the pool of Bethsaida.
Yeah.
Do you want to be well? And
Yeah.
I've asked people that. flat
And
out
sometimes
asked
I've had to say, you know what, Father? No,
them.
I don't. I'm afraid of well.
Yeah,
In this one space in my life, I'm afraid of. I'm so accustomed to the unwell. And even
It's
though it's
hard.
jacked up, it's what I know.
But that's
I
what I
know
know.
well.
It's comfortable in
Yeah,
that space.
absolutely.
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
And confessing that can be really helpful to
Yeah.
say, oh, whoa, that's what's holding me back.
Yes.
So do I really trust God in this area of my
Exactly.
life? And, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't, and I
Yeah.
have to confess that and then move forward.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. We need to really get to a place in our Christian life. I think people think, "Yeah, I despise the word perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
I despise it, especially when it's used relative to a human.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense whatsoever. I would not let my kids say that word coming up in human interpersonal interactions. That was not a word that was allowed in my house because it's an unachievable and it's
It
subjective.
is.
What's perfect for you may be not
Yeah.
perfect for me, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
That's
so we
true.
don't even use the word, and I'm so thankful for that because I've
Yeah.
seen some great outcomes for my kids for not saying those things.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's true. And I had to really get over a lot of perfectionism in order to just say, I gotta let God lead this. And it does rely a little bit on me showing up and me
Yeah.
bringing what
Oh,
he's had to
absolutely.
learn and things like that. But really it is letting him work through what we know and letting him do.
Well, the
job.
other side of the coin is that people say, well, God's going to do it. Well, he says, I've given you everything that you need for
To do
God.
it.
And you already have
Now
that.
do it. Yeah,
Step
do
up.
it. I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, gym season's coming up, and everyone's going to be buying all these gym memberships. They want to get fit and healthy for the year, and then only like 10% will go.
Right.
It's
Yep.
a waste
Well-
of money.
Last week, I hired somebody to go to the gym for me.
Are you serious?
They broke a sweat and everything.
And how did that work out for you? I know, isn't that
No, but I
crazy?
mean, that's a silly concept.
I know,
How many
I know.
times do we do that in life? I'm gonna and I put it in this sense, a lot of times we're looking for an external source to change an internal job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And we can do that in lots of different things.
Say that again,
Yeah,
because that
please.
really
Repeat
highlights
that.
life, right? We're looking for an
External source to change an internal job. And it's like, it's like, no, I mean, yes, and I come back to is what I do. Yes, we have tools and things, but ultimately it comes down to is, okay, what are you wanting to change? And then are you willing to take the steps, put the discipline and the work toward it? Okay, I can't do that for you. She can't do that for you.
Right.
A marriage, yeah, you might not have the tools, you might not understand the differences in males and females and personalities.
What?
And all
There are no
the
differences. What are you talking about?
But once you
Where
start,
have you been?
but you start understanding that,
Yeah.
now I have a reference to work, now I can start working
Right.
with that.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's the beauty of, I'm gonna put it, kind-hearted people that have a passion for what they do.
Right.
That's really what they're tapping into, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm reading Larry Crabb's book, Fully Alive, now. Have you read any of
I
Dr. Crabb's work?
I have,
Yeah.
but not that one.
Yeah, and it just talks about the gender differences and that we frame the whole conversation wrongly. It really is, out of my masculinity, how do I glorify you? Out of my femininity,
that.
how is that glorifying you? Because when we make it about us, this is why we get all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because we make it about us instead of about him. And that changes everything.
Yeah.
It really does. Man, it is so incredible. Can I read that Robert Frost book?
Yes,
Is
go
that
for
okay
it.
with
Yep.
you? Don't you look great in purple? John, in purple, baby.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Oh, he came in the bathroom this morning. He's like, wow. Yeah.
Gonna be a grand night at Centers,
Yes.
folks.
Oh my gosh, you're making me laugh.
Oh, where was I? Oh.
Robert Frost.
Pauline, Robert Frost said this. I know you know the quote. It says, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled.
Yes.
What is the road less traveled for you? Because it makes all the difference.
The road less traveled for me was actually what I'm doing right now because I was so afraid for so long. Do you know what I mean? It was like, well, I was being a mom and I was doing different things, but it was really just putting myself out there and saying, I can do what God wants me to do because I'm going to have His help to do it. And it really, it's hitting me emotionally because I don't think I realized how important it was to confront that and not be afraid to take it, no matter what the outcome would be.
Yes.
Will I see the fulfillment of everything before I die?
No.
I don't know. I'm saying probably not.
Yeah.
But I did feel like writing my book. Can I show this?
Yes, go for
Okay,
it.
so this has just come out. This is my cover. My new cover. It's on my website. There's a PDF available on the website, dunamosmarriages.com, which I think he posted.
Yep.
And it was just like really scary putting myself out there, to be honest, and I avoided it and I stayed away from it frame for so long because, to be honest, it puts you out for judgment. Like, you guys probably understand that doing what you do.
Yeah,
People always have their opinions of what
Yes.
you're doing. And I had been through some things and I was like, I don't know if I want to be in a place where people think they have the right to judge what I'm doing. But really working with God and, really at the end of the day, He's the only one who can make that decision and being true to what He's called me to do. And that was I'm traveling it now, but it's like it took a long time for me to
You
get
travel
there.
in the road less traveled. right?
Yes, because
Yeah.
we all can look back and go, man, imagine how much I should have accomplished if I started 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But, we have to get there when we get there and then just jump
And the
on
time's
with both
always
feet.
perfect when our hearts are aligned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So I
That's
was over 60 years old when I started my business. People
Yeah.
are thinking about retiring, and I'm thinking about refiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Right?
so is Dr. Pauline.
Yeah.
The amount of movement you have made, the strides this year alone in business, I love what you're doing. I mean, she's tackling marketing, you're tackling the public, getting known,
Getting this.
online,
Yeah.
expanding the business online. Most
sure.
people are terrified to just do one little aspect of that.
Yeah.
Well, I've been terrified of the visual aspect
You
of
move
it.
into action
But,
though.
you know, and doing a little bit and then going, oh my gosh, I figured out that little piece of technology, like even like Zoom counseling.
Yeah.
Because technology can affect how, you know, if I'm doing your Zoom, internet goes down, end of your session
Yeah.
for the day. I mean, you know, and we all have to be ready to do that. Even today we were starting and there was no sound and we had to pause and we had to get the sound going. So I just have to tell people, hey, we can do it, but it's gotta
But
be
we're
patient.
And also, I would also just say is also Pauline's office is right down the
Yeah, we're in
hall
the
from mine.
same-
yeah.
So all of a sudden I'll see a head pop in and it's like, okay, Pauline's we're gonna talk about something.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the business of, the different things.
Yeah.
And, and
Which
that's,
is awesome.
He's
which
been
is,
really
which is
good.
awesome because business is not something that you do alone. You're not gonna know everything. So it's, to have places to bounce things, talk about things and the
It's
growth
very
things.
collaborative,
Yeah.
what you
Right.
guys
Yeah,
have going
we're
on.
always
Right,
picking
right.
sides as humans, though. You notice that we'll pick a side. It's just like technology. Technology is neutral.
Right.
It really is.
could care less.
It's neutral.
It
You can
is.
care
Yeah.
less, really,
What you do with
right?
it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have bad players, of course you are. I've never been in a space of life where they're not bad players.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's human.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
just a human thing. So I choose, and she knows I could be really jaded about technology
Yes.
over a couple of things that's happened to me in
Yes.
the last couple of years.
Oh,
But,
yeah,
but
yeah.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
No.
You're not
It
gonna
doesn't
take that
stop
from
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
not stop the movement.
Doesn't stop the movement.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
It doesn't. My friend, because one of the things I used to tell, I'm a coach as well, so we enthrone the brain in our culture, right? Smartest person wins. How could you make that mistake? You're smarter than that. All of the phrasing that we've had as parents and the phrasing that's been given to us as well. And we're learning, not necessarily, especially with EQ work, emotional quotient work, and not those type works, that the smartest person doesn't always win.
Right.
A lot of times smartness has to do with owning your parents' work.
Yeah.
Scientifically that's proven, right? So with that being the case, you're doing good work, amazing work, helping with the brains, harmonizing. But what does crazy good look like for you?
Crazy good.
Let's go next level, baby.
Just right above. Think this way.
No, I would put it, crazy good looks like being able to get my message out and having really I would put, I don't know if it's licensing, franchising, but to be able to have a system to give people hope, especially when they've had serious injuries, different things like that. Because the problem is when somebody's injured and then all of a sudden they have no hope.
Yeah,
And if you have no hope,
right.
everything, I'm talking depression, anxiety, autoimmune system, all kinds of craziness happens all because of that hopelessness.
Yes.
Okay, the gentleman that we work with, the National Association of Child Development out of Ogden, Utah, our son came out of the hospital in May, it was August that we met with him. And he was the first person, he says, Dallas, if you stick with this program, you will be amazed where your son is when he's 18.
Yeah.
That was the first one that gave me hope for years down the road.
Right.
And I'm like, whew, all I needed was a little.
Yes, just a
Just a
glimmer.
glimmer, and I'm like, okay, now I can do it. But that also ties back what you were just talking about, the negative influences that we receive. There's a great book, What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself? I mean, the concept, what is a thought, an idea, a memory?
Right.
It's an electrical impulse and a chemical response that's stored in our brain that creates a neural network.
Right.
Okay, the question comes in, and in that book, he talks about by the time somebody's 18 years old in quote unquote a normal household, and I'm not sure what a normal household is,
Right.
but one that's
such thing.
relatively stable.
Yeah.
You will have heard, no, you can't, you shouldn't, you're not good enough, probably 180,000 times. Woo! You will have only heard on the positive, man, you've got what it takes. I believe in you. You're not a mistake. Yes, that you're not a failure. It's just an action that happened. Okay, how do we get over it? So therefore, there's a big neural network that's created and a little one. So then the question was, when we're stressed, which one wins out?
Yeah.
The
I just,
Which
big guy
one
in the room.
wins?
Yeah.
The big guy. Okay, so therefore the question is how do we build? It's not that you're going to necessarily get rid of that negative one,
Right.
because it's there.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's
Yeah.
never there,
Yeah.
but how do you grow that smaller one bigger and stronger?
I
So
love
when things
that.
happen,
yeah,
no, I'm going to default to, and I can do this.
yeah.
And that's, you kind of mentioned that it's really that hero's journey. What is a hero? A hero is somebody that faces challenges
Yes.
and overcomes, and that transformation process is what captivates us
Right.
as
Preach it.
individuals.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love,
Wow.
well, two of our
And
biggest hashtags is hope dealers and hope infusers. Because we are 100% on board with what you just said. in regards to-
I mean, it was my sister, we were
Yes.
sitting there talking, and it's like, well, what, and this was early, probably, she got in Harmonized Brain Centers about 2 years after I started, but then we started talking, it's like, what are we doing? I mean, you come down, it is just giving that hope.
That's right.
I mean, we have
Incredible.
techniques and things that we've
Yeah.
done and, how we've applied it, but it's really, that is the essence.
Nice.
Let me
Dennis.
say this before, because it's right on the tip of your tongue, because that was just such an
It was.
illuminating point, my friend, that
Yes.
hope, without hope, we're dead in water.
Yeah.
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 We are, go.
Well, he just made me, as he was talking, make a strange connection, so bear with me for just a moment. It made me think of our walnut farm, actually. We have a walnut farm in California that our son does, and he's doing what's called rejuvenation farming, which is to rejuvenate the soil, to put the right elements in so that you get healthier walnuts, you get healthier feedback for yourself, and that your brain and your body is healthier. And when he does like the lens, you're returning the soil, you're putting better things in, and then when we do the messaging, like if I do the counseling then with, well, we want to attack that negative thinking, we want to grow the positive thinking, now we have some really good soil to dig into. So, I was on a farm growing up, and so was this is actually the farm my husband grew up on that we now have.
Where is it at?
It's in a little town called Williams, California.
Williams, California.
Yeah. it's
Northern California, right?
Northern
Yeah.
California, between Sacramento and Redding, and it's called Beach and Bend, so you'll be seeing more about Beach and Bend as we start to produce more. But you were reminding me of that's partly what we're trying to do with rejuvenate the brain, rejuvenate the body, rejuvenate the spirit,
And the heart.
and then
your
the
heart
heart,
work.
and then your heart is
I love
rejuvenated.
that.
So
That's beautiful.
that's that we're trying to get better food, we're trying to get better messages, we're trying,
And that's, it all ties, because I go back to what's the greatest commandment, love your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul.
And the
Okay, so
second.
there's a triune nature to all of us.
Yes.
Okay, so therefore, if somebody comes in and their mind's out of sync, it's not working correctly, does that affect the soul and the body?
oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If somebody's sick and different, is it gonna affect the mind and the soul? Absolutely. So therefore, how do we, when we're looking at people, we're going back to cultivating that soil. Your gut biome, what we eat, how is your gut doing,
Yes.
is a tremendous impact on how your brain functions.
Yes.
Okay, so then it's not that we're ever just talking just lens, we get to talk, we have a 12-step or 12 best brain practices, and you're going through those, but yet it ties into the gut, to your faith, to what's going on, because it's all integrated.
Yes.
It's all, you can't separate
You
them out.
can't separate them out.
We try, don't we?
And that's what I come back to, and not to put on to a negative, but our Western medicine
Yes, I was
is
just
very,
thinking that.
very, all we're looking is in this very narrow lane. I mean, you gotta look at, this is a person.
We call it holistic though.
Right.
You ever notice that?
Yeah.
They'll call the stuff they're doing holistic and they're missing the point.
Right.
Very often time. For what you're doing, I had to ask this question because for the work that you're doing, tell us how do you help people transcend the victim mentality? And you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And help them spiral up.
relate.
Yeah. I think that the one thing that I really teach people to do that I think is the most effective is forgiveness work. Because we get very stuck in, yes, you have a right to feel your pain. Yes, that was horrible what they did to you. Nobody's denying that. But as long as you're in bitterness and anger and hurt and pain, you're stuck.
Just stop.
And people go, well, I can't forgive till they apologize. Well, they're never going to.
They're not.
Yeah.
The majority of people are not ever really going to apologize. So now it becomes, do you want to keep carrying them around with you your whole life? Or do you want to like drop some of these things and lighten your burden and get closer to God and just feel free in that aspect? And I know what the victim mentality is. I lived it a lot from traumas I had, but really, when I was able to choose to forgive, when I was able to know specifically what I was forgiving, when I was able to know what the pain was attached to it, and when I was able to release that to Jesus, it was just like this backpack of stuff I'd been carrying around that wasn't mine, was getting stuff thrown out the back of it. And now it's like, not my problem, you know. And
I love talking on that because I jump into that forgiveness piece because when people are just bound up, okay, is it a brain issue or are we talking a spiritual
yes,
issue?
yes.
Yeah.
But or at Denver DIA a couple weeks ago, and man, I'm walking through, and this lady, she had bags. I mean,
Oh,
trying to go
man.
through, the walkway,
Right.
the fast walk thing.
Yeah.
And she could hardly get on there. Okay, and then I look up, and this guy comes running by, and he has a little backpack. And that just gives me to the analogy: how much baggage are we carrying in life that we don't need to carry? That
Yes.
is
So
burdening
good.
us
I love that visual.
in everything that we do. And it's like, man,
Yes.
the bags.
Dallas really kind of, I didn't expect this.
I know.
You know what I mean? 'Cause you look like one of those kind of kickback guys.
Yeah.
But you throw down.
I know.
You were dropping some wisdom today. I'm
Yes.
telling you.
Yes.
It's so awesome, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to
Nuggets.
wrap because around 11:45 we have to transition because we have another show coming
Yeah.
on. Lisa, do it.
All right. So, Pauline, since you are our panel host and brought on an amazing guest with you, you get to go first. So, as you know, we're all about infusing hope and encouragement to the world.
Yes.
So, we would like you to give a moment, look into that camera, and encourage the world, and then let them know how to reach you.
Do know that you can connect at a heart level with each other. It is possible, and you can do it, even if it seems hard. You can find me at my website, dunamasmarriages.com, DUNAMAS, marriages.com. You can call my
Spelled it
office at 719-231-7183. I almost forgot the number. Yeah.
Tell them what that Greek word dunamis means.
Oh, thank you. Dunamas in that verb form means filled with the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right, Dallas, your turn.
All right, Dallas Shepard with Harmonized Brain Centers, and if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can call our office at 719-661-6422, and our website is harmonizedbraincenters.com. We have a passion to help people change their brain. We believe that you can have hope. Don't give up, seek help,
Yes.
ask for help. And if we can add our services to help you, we would love to do that, or send you to somebody else that can do it another way, another method, doesn't matter. We want you to get better. Live
Yes.
with a harmonized brain equals a harmonized life.
Awesome. Thank you so
Wow.
much.
Wow, what a great first show.
Yes.
Because you guys are amazing.
Yes, you both are.
You really are. The work that you're doing, both of you, I'm glad that you're collaborating as
Yes.
well. It's helping humanity move forward. And as Dallas said, bring hope to humanity,
Yes.
right? Together. We all want to do that. That's what the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa is about as well. Thank you for being on show number 1, and we'll be back shortly.
Thanks.